Hey guys, welcome back. So, if you follow any of the videos, you know that this is an ECW Fig Fed roster, and you're probably thinking to yourself, there's not really any representation of ECW other than one guy. And you would be correct. There is only one guy. Rob Van Dam. He is a champion. Again, not by choice, just happened to be that way. Him and the other guy who fought, I was hoping the other guy would win. But I go with the dice roll, and the fates are RVD is your first ECW champion of this Fig Fed. So obviously you can get that for like 50, 70 bucks somewhere out there. Not the hardest thing to come by, just got to put a little bit of money into it. So how do you build a roster then if there's no other real ultimates? Well, you get creative. You get very creative, and I think this is probably the most creative. Let's start with, obviously now, it's not all these guys weren't in ECW. Some of these guys are totally custom newer guys, but since there's only I only have a few of them, I've decided to throw them in ECW. If I over time get more fully custom guys, then I might make another Fed, but I already have 8 brands of that anyway. So let's just start with those ones. Get those ones out of the way first. So Steve Macklin. Now, I believe he was part of the Forgotten Sons at one point. Head sculpt, I didn't build this one at all. Just so clean, so nice. Came with a nice, I don't know if it's Forbidden figurine belts, but it definitely came with the TNA Impact title. But since he's an Ultimate, he gets to go to one of the higher brands, the ECW brand, if you will. And the other guy being Moose. Now, I got him after hearing the devastating news that the Moose figure originally was supposed to come out with TNA, got canceled. I think the money came back. Pretty sure it did. But and then they're going to keep looking. Now, of course, the skin tone, it's not perfect up close, but it does work from far away. He is a little bit more wobblier than I would like, but the decals on this, the tattoo work, phenomenal. You get the Moose tattoos, got the Moose. Lots of tattoos in here. I don't know if, to my knowledge, these are authentic. So it's not he just add a bunch of gobbledygook on here. Really clean on the antlers and whatnot. Just a great figure. Those two aren't exactly going to be moved around other than posed here and there because they are fully painted out. Much more than a generic kind of like what I put together. Of course, those ones weren't built by me. This one wasn't built by me either. In fact, this was one I saw and I decided, okay, this one's perfect. Let's do this. Yeah, I wish I had if I had the arm tattoo, if it wasn't up on his bicep, I would easily get the Golden Standard style edition instead. But this does work. Shelton was in ECW. He did fight with Christian. Which, spoiler, I am building a Christian Ultimate to go with the ECW roster. Because the Christian Cage AEW figure, the formula is terrible. Those legs are just terrible. That head sculpt, you can see the gap really far. I've tried all the different head sculpts. It's not good. So I'm going to build my own. This one too, they used I think an AJ torso. It looks like they did. I think they did paint this. This is probably just the standard release. Instead of the camo release. But they did acetone off. The head sticks a little bit lower on the body. But, then again, all his figures have been really kind of wonky because his body style is just kind of skinny. And to make him authentic, it would just look weird. But Adam Cole, baby. Now, of course, usually if they have an AEW figure, I usually leave him alone unless I can turn it into an Ultimate. And since I found this one already in Ultimate status, I was like, cool, I will bring him back to the Ultimate roster. And he can be in the ECW revision. So, let's see, who else did I buy? This one I did buy. It was not made by me. But I was getting one commissioned to be made. So the skin tone on the head doesn't quite match. But if you're going to have a Revival ECW brand, you're going to need an Impact player. And that has got to be this Test. Originally, I think the one I wanted was going to be like kind of say Test on the back and not just his decal. Obviously, we don't have a Test figure. If Mattel ever does make one, that would be awesome. I'll obviously do something with the head and whatnot and use the lower half of the body and build him proper. But for what this is, for how much I only paid, really well done. Glad I got it. A lot of decal work for sure. So I'm very careful with these decal ones more or less than the ones I build. One of the ones I'm kind of kicking myself for, I did use a Ric Flair torso, and I should have snapped off 2 of the little pegs because it turns out they were bent a little bit. So when I started applying this pressure, it wasn't closing. And the problem with this glue is you only get a small window. It does rotate, but the arm crackage you can see a little bit more on this one than I would like. Now, since then, I have put glue, clear glue on there, so it's not going anywhere. It's definitely sealed. But who is it? It's Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase Jr. So I might get the purple one and try this one again, try to clean it up a little bit. I did swap out the arms and just put his regular wristbands on there. But it does work really well for Ted DiBiase. And again, this is a hodgepodge ECW roster. This is not authentically... There are some ECW originals in here, people who actually did wrestle in ECW, but there's also a lot of just, this is the brand you're going into until I figure out something to do more with you. The next one here, I got this figure, and it never showed up, so the guy built another one, sent it to me. Well, I think what happened was he ended up keeping the money. Well, he ended up keeping his portion of the money. Macari refunded me mine because I never got my figure. So when he popped it up again, I just bought it again. And this one did show up. I would switch the head if that T'Challa toy one ever does show up. But for right now, Sabu. What's nice is he actually took the time, if you can look on the decal there, to scratch in the tattoo, the scars. So it looks really good. Obviously, it's an AJ torso. I was pretty impressed with that one, so I snagged that one up. This next one, I don't know if I ever would have made it into a Ultimate because I don't paint, but they decided to put the mushroom there themselves, and they made themselves an Ultimate Matt Riddle, and you can see the mushrooms right there. That was painted in there, obviously. I don't know if he always had a tattoo right there or not, so maybe I could have done a pre-tattoo one, but this is before I started doing this. I was just buying customs of people, and he was on there. Wasn't too expensive. I do plan to maybe get another one of these and take the feet off, take the lower part right here off, and add it to make that Kevin Von Erich I was talking about. So I'm currently looking at other parts. I can only build so many people in my time off because I do work my jobs a lot, where on my downtime here I don't bring any of my tools because I don't, I'm not allowed to bring sharp objects around these guys. So, and the only knives we have we keep locked away, and I'm allowed to use them when I'm making dinner, and then I have to make sure to put them back safely so they don't mess with them. So I don't do any of that stuff here. So when I do get home, I do have a limited time to kind of put people together, figure people out. This next one here I'm not proud of. I literally just put the head on a body and called it a day. I decided just, let's make Reggie. Let's just make a Reggie. Let's just throw him in some generic sweatpants. Maybe I'll do some with him more in the future. I know he was Scripps for a little while, and that bombed horribly after one show. You didn't see him anymore. So they obviously went back to the drawing board with that one. So until I didn't see a reason to, he's just Reggie, and he is just the ECW jobber. I mean, if the dice rolls work, he'll get more. If he's on jobber matches against guys I'm trying to build, and he keeps beating them, then he'll get moved up the card. Next one here I didn't build myself. Again, somebody already beat me to the idea, but I ended up buying it nonetheless because it worked perfectly. Why not an Ultimate Boogeyman? He was in ECW. They literally just used the lower torso. They used a Mr. T, or lower leg portion. They Mr. T torso. Notice a little bit of gappage on this one. They probably could have done a little better putting it together down below. I usually try to make sure they're perfectly flush where you don't see the gappage, but you can't really notice it from afar. I mean, you can a little bit right there. You can see the background, see the color comes through a little right there. So, yeah, they should have definitely made sure to really get that thing flush. But it's not bad. I got creative. I obviously they don't have the super, skinny, ripped up torsos like they made this guy. And I was more than willing to try because I had to use cotton swabs stuffed in his neck peg to make his head sit higher up on the original figure anyway. So I was more than willing to try this, and I like the way it turned out. And he's an ECW, rebrand original kind of guy, John Morrison. Of course, I switched the arms out, gave him more of his jacked arms. Still, he wasn't super skinny. I mean, he did come back with a little bit more bulk to him. I mean, he's getting older. If I move the arm a little bit there, you can see very little gappage on both sides. Ric Flair torso usually works really well to put people together without even taking the whole thing off. When you take it all off, you be careful because once you take it all off, a lot of times it tends to not want to go back properly all the way flush. But as you can see, though, you don't see a gap. When I look at the light here, you don't see a gap in there because I really make sure to keep these guys flushed up well on the torso to the leg connector piece. Let's see. I'm trying to do this in order of who I built next, but I don't even remember anymore. This guy, I decided, what? He's got the skin tone for it. Austin matches perfectly. Let's get him out here. Let's switch the arms. Let's call it a day. Let's make an Ultimate Curtis Axel. So Curtis Axel could start the Genesis of McGillicuddy. No, I'm kidding. Like I said, this is a hodgepodge kind of group here. He would go on to become Intercontinental Champion, but then his push kind of just died at that point. He'd go on and win a tag belt with this person. I'm also going to be buying another one of these to try to build a Val Venus using white trunks, black knee pads, and white boots from his SmackDown 2 look. Obviously he had short hair, so I'm going to take liberty with long hair because they don't have a short-haired version. They have the almost bald head, but I digress. I'm using Bo Dallas. Here's an Ultimate Bo Dallas. I could switch the head and go back to his longer hair look. I'm thinking about doing that. I'm not sure. This one I do like still. So him and, of course, Curtis Axel are in the tag team, division, possibly into the TNA or the ECW television round. He might be world champion. Who knows? RVD's got to have opponents, right? I'm trying to build some strong ones. Currently, I have a Shane Douglas currently being built, and I have a Sean O'Hare being built. I was going to put him in the WWE roster. I'm actually going to move him probably over to the ECW roster. Some of these, if you follow my Instagram, you've seen. You didn't see this one because I bought this one. And I've since decided to use the legs on this one. I bought 2 more of these. I'm going to use the legs to build my Deuce and Domino figure. But Elias Ultimate. I think the only thing I need to do is maybe switch the hand for a closed fist. I ended up taking the armbands off of one of the Eliases to use for another figure, so you're going to see these repeated again. What I might do is actually take the other one's armbands off and then switch. They have the matching ones, but for now it's the same thing as this Elias. And I didn't put that Elias together. I bought that Elias. I've seen people build these guys, and people told me that one can be done easily. The other one, it doesn't work because his torso is too big, and he has he's missing. You can't have his tattoos, and I found a way around that, creative way around that. But basically, Ultimate JTG. You can see there's the bands that match perfectly from the Elias. I'm probably going to I'm going to open the other one up, come back, and switch it. I didn't even keep his original arms because they didn't have any tattoos, and he did get kind of swole near the end of his run, so gave him a little bit more bulkiness to him. Looks great, and he finally won some tag team gold with, may he rest in peace, his partner Shad Gaspard. Now you're probably thinking that's our Truth vest. It is a Truth vest. I tried using a weaker nail polish remover at first before I got the good stuff, so I may take this figure back and really get rid of this, but at the same time I wanted some sort of graffiti look to it, so maybe I'm thinking I might get rid of a few more letters in here or something like that. Maybe I might send them away to my customizer and go, hey man, just tag this thing up, make it look like a bulletproof vest that Shad Gaspard might wear. I used a black cloth shirt I found on eBay that covered up the missing bicep tattoo, and of course he's got a standard Mr. T torso underneath, so there's no tat work here. I may just send him away and have him have the tattoo work put on there, because he told me the tattoo work's not too difficult to do. It didn't take too long. It's pretty simple. He puts it on there, he seals it, calls it a day. Or I may just keep him like this. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, he's won some tag gold. I was happy to bring them out of the elite purgatory of Elite 6. So, next guy, again, many Mr. T's have sacrificed their torsos to make these guys possible. Velveteen Dream. Now, he's not as cut as the Elite version was, but it works just as well. Leaving the he didn't have any wrist tape, so just putting the torso on there, leaving the white, matching with the boots, it looks great. The head's from the basic. I didn't care for that weird stuck up hair, Sky Too Hottie look, so I used the basic head, which was a nightmare. Definitely have to heat this up, make it really rubbery. Then it pops on there. It didn't even make a popping sound. It just kind of was on there. So another one I enjoy. Next guy, I had to really think outside the box. There's no way to make this guy in a singlet in an ultimate form. So instead what I did is I just decided to go with his later in life, right before he retired or left WWE look, and I made Ryback. And I didn't use the Goldberg, super jacked, big body torso, because he was more bulky than cut, and so I feel like this is just a good rendition of Ryback. I might, go with a jacked up torso and see how that looks in the future, but for now this works just fine. He does, still kind of tower over people. I could have used his late blue tire, but it would have looked weird because it would have been like half the Saber face, whereas this one you can't really see the distinction. It doesn't cut away any vital parts. It just looks like a bunch of skulls. I left the arms, of course. I left the legs the way they are. This last one, someone said, was on the YouTube group I frequent, and they said, has anyone made this guy yet? There we go. And it does move. Some of these, like I said, some of these get a little bit of glue into them. They stick for a second, and then you just have to pry them a little bit. But I used a Ric Flair torso. I put the arms and the head on there, kept, of course, the lower legs as they are, and you get Ultimate Yoshi Tatsu. He, of course, was in ECW, the WWE version of ECW, so just a perfect figure to go in there. That is the roster currently. Now, again, Shane Douglas is coming. Sean O'Haire is going to be showing up in there. And as soon as they release the Monday Night War Series 2, Eddie Guerrero, I'm going to take that torso off and I'm going to build Chavo Guerrero. I have an Elite 5 Chavo, so I'm going to do that eventually. As long as it looks right. If it doesn't look right and I can find somebody else, maybe I might try to do it. I'm hoping that maybe that Eddie torso might be good. Currently, nobody's got the right skin tone for a Jinder Mahal. I thought about trying to build Jinder Mahal, but nobody's got that tire. So hopefully, maybe there'll be a lighter variation, or maybe they'll make somebody who works really well for that Jinder Mahal tire. But so far, that skin tone just does not match. I was hoping The Rock would work. It didn't work. I was hoping, obviously Ali is too dark. It wouldn't work either. So other guys coming down the pipeline too. Looking at Jason Jordan, building him. In fact, I have an Ali on the way to see if the skin tones match. Somebody used a rock to make the Jason Jordan, but he looked way more jacked. There was so much, you have to burn so much tattoo work off. I'm sure you clean it up, it looks nice, but I didn't think he was that jacked. So Sean O'Haire, Shane Douglas, who else was I trying to? I was just about to say the other people. I might add a cruiserweight in here. I'm thinking about Sandman and Tommy Dreamer. I do have a custom Sandman and Tommy Dreamer. Wasn't hard to make a Sandman. From what I've seen, the parts were pretty generic, just jeans and an Elite torso and the head from the Deluxe Aggression Sandman. So I might just do that and build a Ultimate Sandman, an Ultimate Tommy Dreamer, try to get more ECW original flair in there. That's pretty much it for now that I can think of. Oh, Christian. I'm going to make Christian as well. Austin Aries will probably be in the cruiserweight division, so he won't be going to this one. I've got like about 30 guys I'm thinking about I can make. So stay tuned for those ones. Till next time.